Alright, this is my individual presentation. I am Julianne Montague, and I am part of Team 3, also known as Okaloosa Teachers Union. For this presentation, I will be going over project tool utilization for my roles, as well as project contributions and self-assessment. For project tool utilization, as a secondary team lead, I use Notepad, Google Docs, Discord, and Excel. And for the SE lead, I use Google Docs and Discord specifically for Scrum events, and GitHub, as well as Azure DevOps. As a secondary team lead, I would prep the meetings and take notes as we did it, and I would do that in Notepad. And then I would send in Discord the meeting expectations at the end of the meetings, just saying what we're going to be doing and what we said we would take as a task for each week. I also sent in any project deadlines or anything that the team needed to know about. For Google Docs, I would prep any documentation that we needed to submit, and then whenever we went into our meetings, we would assign portions of the documentation to see who would write what. And all of that is shared in the Capstone project Google Drive. So as you can see here, a lot of that is me because I would create it and then we would all work on it later. In Excel, I created a Gantt chart. I used a template by Vertex42, and then I created it to fit our project. So I use this relatively frequently, especially when checking for deadlines. I would say that we upheld the Gantt chart pretty well and followed it, so I was glad to see that. There was a few times where we were delayed, but overall it was good. As the SE lead, use Google Docs for this, but I would kind of host the Scrum events, like get them set up and we would all do it together. But got the sprint plannings and the sprint review and retrospective, as well as the daily Scrum, which we would hold in Discord. 2 or 3 times a week, I would just send a message saying, what have you done? What are you planning on doing next? And do you need any assistance, basically? Is there any delays? And so that was our makeshift daily Scrums. So I think I did that well. I'll go back. I do this for basically every project I've done, and it works pretty well. So I'm glad we did that in the end as well. For the SE lead, I also had to do the automated testing, like get that set up, which I did with GitHub Actions, so that's that there. I also set up a GitHub rule for merging branches. We must have a code review and the GitHub test must pass. So that was done. And then I also got the code repository set up initially. So there's that with GitHub. And then for the ADO board, we primarily used it during the sprint planning, anything with that, but we have the product backlog, the sprint backlog, all the Scrum artifacts, and we, as a team, would update any of the user stories, like where we were at with that, and create tasks. So like I said, the guys did their portion of that, but I would also go in behind them, just making sure that everything was up to date throughout the project. For the project contributions, aside from the project coordinator stuff and the SC lead stuff, I created the About page and the admin form management setup, the home page, view forms, form upload. Not everything for admin form management, but a good portion of it in Sprint 1. And then in Sprint 2, for the teacher page, I set up the home page and I got most of the teacher feature done as well. So here's that. I was about middle of the pack for the commits and code in there. And yeah. So for my self-assessments, secondary team lead, I think I met everything I needed to for that. I created those meeting agendas, prepared the documentation, shared up anything that was needed to be shared, and then I used that Gantt chart to keep the team informed of any major deadlines or anything we needed to be on. So yeah, I think I did well for that. And then for the SE lead, I separated into 3 little sections. As a Scrum Master, I do have a certification in that, so I think I met that pretty well. We did those sprint plannings and tried to follow the Scrum principles and practices. And we did the increments per sprint, so I feel like that was met. And then I separated into GitHub actions and rules. I did those, got that all together as just tasks I had to do. And then for the last bit, for choosing tools and then research and deployment infrastructure and stuff, since I was not the person to choose those tools, I agreed with them, and so as a team we chose them. However, Alex and Trent were the ones to really offer up those ideas. So I did not know much about Azure or Blazor or anything like that. So I was worried about having the team use them effectively, but overall I think we did pretty good. If there was any issues, I would help Tim and I basically just to figure those out, and then we could go to Alex and Trent if we had any major issues we couldn't figure out together. Have not done the research for the deployment infrastructure yet, although we know it will be Azure, because it'll probably cost money. I'm pretty sure it'll cost money, and we don't want to be charged until the last second, basically. So that's the only reason I haven't done that yet, but I will be doing that towards the end of this sprint. And that's it. So overall, I think I did well, and I did everything that I wanted to do for this project. And I hope you think so too.